Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the McFarlane Toys Spawn Series 9 Manga Spawn Series 1 Manga Curse. Now before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let's just take a look-see at his lone accessory. Oh, that's underwhelming. Either way, it comes with a missile, and you can put it in the little compartment here on his right arm. If I can remember how that damn thing goes in. I want to say right there. You can put it in like so, and then you can press the button, and it's supposed to fire. But it doesn't want to do it now. So, oh no, I broke it! Yeah. Well, that's 90 spawn shit for you. It fired once earlier, so I guess that's on me. Yeah, that doesn't want to... I don't want to go. Yeah, yeah. Well, it was worth a shot. Get it? Worth a shot. Yeah, I guess the spring is shot. Okay, well, it doesn't fire. It fired once for me earlier, but I guess that ship has sailed. 90 spawn shit, everybody. Either way, taking a closer look at Manga Curse since we have him sitting here. Yeah, I gotta tell ya, the original Curse figure from, what was this, Spawn Series 3? 3 or 4? Wasn't a big fan. He just kind of looked like a lame X-Force villain. This, at the very least, gives me a lot of Michael Bay Transformers vibes, by the way. But this, at the very least, looks more interesting, and I think is based more off the kind of cloaked version of the Curse, with the creepy smiley face, as opposed to the, I don't know, just boring kind of white guy with a gray beard and a weird Robocop looking helmet. It wasn't the most inspired design I've ever seen for a character ever. So this is definitely an upgrade in my opinion. And I'm a sucker for these Manga Spawn figures, you guys know that. I love this line and all of its wacky 90s bizarreness. That said, I know I've been doing a lot of anatomy on this channel lately. I got nothing for this dude. I don't think he's really supposed to have any. Other than he's got, excuse me, he's got 2 arms and 2 legs and a head. That said, he does have a nice, you know, chin to shoulder ratio. He's kind of jacked for a skinny robot. Yeah, again, this is just kind of meant to be a weird looking guy. So to break down the anatomy on this would be, well, for lack of a better term, freaking stupid. So we're just going to bypass that, you know. But as far as articulation goes, his head will rotate. And I say it's the cloaked version of the Curse because of the pointed kind of head piece here, the crest. And then this, the way this hangs down, the way... all this is sculpted kind of reminiscent of a hood covering a creepy smiley face head. Like this kind of reminds me of his chin in a way. These little pieces remind me of the sides of the hood. And the only time they ever made a cloaked Curse, to my understanding, no, it's not the Spawn Universe Soul Crusher figure, but it's the, it was Art of Spawn or Spawn Classic comic covers. There was one that came with 2 little creepy guys that hung out next to him. That said, his arms can rotate. Okay. He has these weird strap things coming off his shoulders going onto this back piece, which can also rotate for whatever reason. Not quite sure what that's for. But this one on mine popped off. Fresh out of package. So it just needs to be glued. Much like the Manga Spawn, the regular Manga Spawn, not the Manga Spawn variants. My shoulder pad came unglued, so I need to have my Dad go in and glue that. But that's neither here nor there. These little panels here, I guess if that's what you want to call them, these do rotate as well. I think they're supposed to stick up like that. Kind of gives them a cool look for the chest there. That said, lifting his arm up, he does have a single elbow, which feels detented, which is pretty badass for an old Spawn figure. So that's kind of nice. Get a detented elbow there. He's got this crazy, this is a freaking sword or an axe or a, it's a big sharp pointy stabby weapon either way. And again, he's got the gun arm over here with this big whip attached to the end of it. This is not bendy, by the way, it just sits there. Yeah, that kind of blows. This thing is shot before. Cut the camera. I'm just not pushing hard enough, man. I think this is a lost cause, fellas. It's I really got nothing to say to that. That sucks. Oh well. At least it's not coming out. I mean, it could be worse. It's at least locked in. It just won't shoot. And this arm, it has those detents, but it's a little bit heavier because of the hard plastic used for the lower arm here. That said, his hips can kick forward and back. I don't think these pieces on his hips rotate. I feel like they're supposed to. Nah, they don't. They're not on. Oh, they just come off. So they pop off. Okay, that's new. That's news to me. It's not broken, it's just they're pegged in. I guess we're discovering something live here. Oh yeah, they kind of pop off. That's new. So he's got weird little pop-out panels on his legs there. That's kind of neat, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. He's got a single knee. I mean, I don't know any old Spawn figures that have a double knee, but he's got a single one. And nothing in the feet, which I think would have helped this guy a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, he's a little tricky to stand just because of all the weight, but his joints have held up pretty well. I've had this guy for a long time. This is one of the first Manga Spawn figures I ever got. I think this guy and the regular Manga Spawn and the Manga Violator were the first three I got, and I think the Goddess, which no, I'm not reviewing that turd. I love this Manga Spawn line, but that figure can suck a fat one. It is, for lack of a better term, total shit. But Manga Curse, Manga Violator, and Manga Spawn, the regular one, the first Manga Spawn figures I got, and I gotta be honest, they've held up quite nicely over time, as opposed to some of my Spawn figures which have broken and either needed pins or needed, I don't know, something glued on. It is what it is. You know what you're getting if you're buying this old Spawn shit, okay? So I don't think I need to reiterate that more than I already have, because if you haven't noticed, I take a look at a lot of old Spawn stuff on this channel. I need to get around to that medieval Spawn review I've been talking about for probably a year and a half now. Kind of been waiting for that Kickstarter before I did that, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. So with that being said, that's kind of all I gotta say about this figure. I do like it. It does have some shortcomings, but I do think it's kind of an interesting addition to this Manga Spawn line. It's definitely a better Curse figure than the previous one, just based off the sculpt and I guess the paint. The paint's kind of minuscule on this guy, much like it was on the first one, but it's enough. It's good enough for what it is, I suppose, right? But a definite improvement. It's way more interesting and looks a hell of a lot cooler. Maybe it's because I'm a sucker for anything reminiscent of a Michael Bay Transformer, which this guy, Maybe not 100%, but it's definitely there. More so than, I would say, a Gundam or a Macross or something like Jetfire from Transformers G1. So that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is our Manga Curse next to his Spawn Series 3 counterpart, which aside from that awesome chainsaw arm, not the most interesting figure in the world. And then we also have the closest thing to the curse we've gotten in the new Spawn Universe line with Mr. Soul Crusher here. That said, fingers crossed we do get a curse figure in the Spawn Universe line. Hopefully the Todd Father still owns the rights to that character, because if I'm being quite honest, I'm only missing one curse figure as far as I know, and it's the one I talked about earlier with the cloak and the two little creepy dudes that hang out with him. That's more of a Staction figure. Other than that, I don't know of any other curse figures that came out during the older Spawn years. So if there's anyone I'm missing, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythical Legions, Brother Mandibulus, and Spawn, who's not towering over everyone today because, well, Manga Curse is the Spawn equivalent of a Michael Bay Transformer after all, and is covered in plenty of sharp pointy bits that allow him to tower over good old Al Simmons here. So with that being said, time to wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the fact that the rocket firing gimmick that this guy has totally took a shit on me during this review, way to make me look good, man. I do still really like this figure. I think this is one of the more interesting designs to come out of the Manga Spawn series from the early days of good old McFarlane Toys. And if you're like me and you like this Manga Spawn line, then I highly suggest you pick this guy up. I don't think he's that expensive, much like most of the figures from this Manga Spawn series. I don't think they're going for more than maybe 20-30 bucks carded. And if I'm being quite honest, out of all the figures I've looked at from the old days of Spawn, the ye old days of Spawn, I should say, because damn, it's been quite a while, these are probably some of the best quality-wise. I haven't really had any major breakage or anything with these guys. Knock on wood that stays that way. But you know what I mean. The old Spawn line, nothing to boast about as far as quality control is concerned. They are very fragile, to say the very least. So, with that being said, again, if you're like me and are a sucker for some wacky, super 90s ass shit, this is definitely one you're going to want to check out. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays. If you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. And if you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is. Especially when, do I need to say it again? The gimmick took a shit on me during the video. Not cool, man. Not cool. Well, at least the missile stays in there. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.